Starting the recording now. We are recording. Jeremy
Sweet.
is one of our, first of all, welcome to the evening of Python coding. Jeremy is one of our oldest participants in the evening of Python coding. He was there when this meetup was started many, many years ago. And he contributed even then quite a lot. And now he's not in Austin, but we're now kind of in DC and in Austin. So Jeremy is joining us from San Diego now, and he's going to show us a library called Streamlit. He'll present himself, he'll tell you what he does for life, but he's been with us a long time. I'm very happy to see him again. Jeremy, the floor is yours.
Oh, thank you. Let's see. My name is Jeremy Langley. I'm a developer for the last 10 years. I've been using Python pretty much solely, I'd say, 90% Python for the entire time. So I tried to stay within that realm. I'm not the polyglot. I try to focus on one language and stick with that. Let's see. I've worked in healthcare and finance and autonomous vehicles. Now I'm working at an energy company, contracting out. So, but let's see, I've been doing data science, and every once in a while I need to do a very fast front end. And lately I've found that this one is pretty useful. This library is called Streamlit. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you through the creation process of making one of these web-based UI apps. Now, this is, let's see, for this demo, you'll need to know about our Python. You'll need to know about Python dictionaries, lists, functions, tuples, and imports. Now, some pretty basic stuff for Python. It's not going to get more complicated than that. So we're going to make a simple calculator. Okay, we're going to go over the Streamlit UI and let's see the components that are within. Then we're going to elaborate on the UI, building a even more complicated simple calculator. And then we're going to work on making it stateful. Because it's a web-based tool, we have to worry about state. This code is not for any particular purpose. Please consult the doctor for continued use. Side effects may include family members trying to ask you to fix their printers. So with that, all the disclaimers, anyway, let's admit some people and import Streamlit. Let's see. I'm going to be taking questions about Streamlit at first. I'm going to be using PyCharm as my environment. I'm going to be using GitHub Copilot because it just auto-completes some things for me. So it's pretty useful. I'm not going to be taking questions on those at first. So I'm going to be taking questions mainly on the Streamlit application first, and we'll save the other ones for the end. So that the video questions are concentrated at the very beginning. Let's see, anything else? I'm reading over my notes and going. Let's see, what I feel that this is good for is making the simple things simple and the complex things are still complex. So this is not, let's see. But if you want to make a UI that's web-based, it's great. So we'll start off with putting on a title. Anytime you do these things, the way to run this application is there's a Streamlit command line run. Which will automatically launch a browser window. So far, so good. We've got a title calculator in a page. This has got themes. So it has a, let's see, if you go into settings, it's got a wide mode, it's got a theme, and it can use the system setting. already in your application, if you're wanting to make a minimum viable product that has dark mode, this is the thing for you. It's a terrible idea if you're making a business. Don't do it. Anyway, don't prioritize dark mode as an MVP. It's mean. Anyway, so you can edit the active theme. It has a couple of settings.
Someone is asking first, is Streamlit a plugin?
Streamlit is a Python module, just let's see, something that you can import. So all you need to, let's see, I've got in my requirements, 2 requirements today. So Streamlit and SymPy. So it works like any other module you want to import into your Python project. So Streamlit is not something that you have to download. It was just, I made a conda environment and I specified these 2 things in my requirements.txt. It found, or PyCharm found it and installed those. So. All right. So I've typed out some of this before, so GitHub Copilot knows what I'm going to write. Let's see, which is a little unnerving, but it's also nice. So in this, I want to have the most basic calculator that I can think of, and that's going to be let's look at what that does here. Closed down the window, didn't I? It works in Chrome and Safari. And notice it displayed dark mode in Safari and light mode in Chrome. All right, so that depends on your browser settings. So I went ahead and set dark mode in Safari and not in Chrome. Anyway, here's a simple calculator app, and you can type things into a text area. I don't have anything, let's see, it's not set yet, but I wanted you to see what happens whenever I do this. So I also need an st.button calculate. And up here at the top, it notices that the source file has changed. You can rerun it. This works kind of like Jupyter Notebooks. It will rerun the entire application, however, instead of just a single cell. So you can say, let's see, rerun always. And so I'm just going to get into the habit of saying rerun whenever I want to rerun it. But now we see the calculate button. Doesn't do anything. No, I press this and it's not going to do anything all day. But if I press it a whole bunch of times, up in the top right corner, you'll see it's running because it's recalculating the entire application every time I press calculate. Okay, that's going to come in to bite us in a little bit. So I'm going to assign this to a variable. So that we can evaluate things or put if statements. So if calculate button, and let's make a function where we can calculate the display. What is this calculate display going to do? So I need a function up here. And I'm going to shadow the outer. All right. Here is the black box that I'm not going to be talking about much. I'm going to be using SymPy. So I haven't imported SymPy yet. SymPy has the ability to take a string-based calculation, 5 plus 2, and then give you or express out the answer. It's wonderful. Check out SymPy's website for all the goodness about symbolic mathematical operations. So not going to be talking about that tonight. Let's see, display answer. So in here we have a success box, and what this is going to do is it's going to display a nice green text box at the bottom saying, hey, this works. So let's go back and see what happened. I'm going to rerun. And let's see. Moment of truth. Let's see. 8 plus 2. Calculate. Voila. This is about the most basic calculator we can get. Okay. It has an expressiveness that simple calculators do not have. Let's see. A note about building user interfaces. Let's say the user has a keyboard in front of them and number keypad and a mouse. If you can't make it more expressive than what they have in front of them, I would suggest move out of the way. Don't build that thing. If you can make something more expressive than what they have in front of them, absolutely. Let's see. Help them with the new user interface component that you have. Anyway, just a note about when to use Streamlit. And let's see, what we're going to be doing is putting on buttons which limit the calculator application. What do I mean by limit? So in a normal calculator application, you don't have 8 power of 2. Or, hey, if you don't like that, if you want to go with the more known mathematical symbols, still 64. How about change that so that we know that it's a different answer? Okay. Anyway, it's pretty expressive and wonderful at this point, but we're going to ruin it. No, we're going to make it look more like a calculator, like one of these simple calculators. And that display. And I think that does it for that one. All right, and I put up. Oh well, I did not. Okay, I'm wondering if I put up my full version in the notes. Did not, but I've got it up there. So I'll be switching back and forth. The code is already up on GitHub if you want to take a look at the full code. So nothing will be lost, and we'll be able to and here's the link for that. It's just a calculator demo. So I wanted to get that into the video. So all right. So that's the basic one. A couple things we'd like to do. We'd like to modify this calculator app to have, let's say, the layout that we want. The layout that we want is to move that calculate button to the end of this text area. Now, let's see, normally you can't contain items in other Streamlit application or other Streamlit components. So what I'm going to need to do is create an st dot columns. Let's see, I'm going to call it left right. With left, play that. With right, it's understanding what I'm going to do. And let's take a look at what that does. Press rerun. Okay. A couple of things that are going on here. This enter your expression and the text area here, or text line, text input here is all one big block of code. So the this area is the whole component. So it matches that calculate should be at the same level. All right, so what I'm going to do is put in something called st.write. st.write will write any text to your output. So let's take a look at how that looks. It's a little bit lower. Put it down a little bit more. Aha, now it lines up. Other things that we can do are we can create 3 columns and say left, right, and underscore. And what this does is it changes the layout of the page. Doesn't change the information. Make it shorter. But I do like the 2-column look better. There isn't any control about how big columns are. So let's see. This is a simple user interface development tool. So it's not as, it doesn't have as many bells and whistles as something that has HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So yes, let's make all the buttons. Oh boy. GitHub Copilot to the rescue. Love this aspect of it. That's a clear button, we need an equals.
How do you do it that fast? It's like the 1, 2, 3, 4. How did you replicate it? Very simple.
All right, there is a module called GitHub Copilot. So it's a service. It is, I think, by GitHub or Microsoft. What they did was they searched through a lot of let's say code repositories, and they taught a interface what is typically next, or what is the next letter that you would type in this code. So I'm going to need to rearrange this, I realize, because now I have this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is not a great layout for calculator buttons. So let's rearrange this a bit into columns. So I want to have, I'll overwrite. All right. I don't want to jump ahead yet, but all right. With right. Middle. No. I need to delete all of this because I took it in the wrong order. Right. Remember, it's reading, or it is read through all of my code. It knows what I'm going to do because it's pulling directly from the finished demo. So and let's see what this looks like. All right, so we've discovered a couple of things and a couple of bugs. Let's see, the plus, minus, and multiplication buttons don't have any text in them. That is a bug in Streamlit, I think. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add a period afterwards so that something shows up. So it doesn't, so that it knows to display those items. I don't know why that is. I haven't found an answer in the docs. So anyway, there probably is. I need to go over that one more. I was hurriedly making this demo. So, all right. Now we found a way to display those things. So now the fun part is to rig this up. So in elaborating on the UI, we want to make sure to get a button and display it. So if button 1 display is equal to 1. So let's take a look at our display was text input, and it's up here at the top. All right, let's go ahead and try this out. Nothing happened. This display isn't changing. Well, it has to do with the application reloading each time. So what it does is it goes from the top to the bottom. It finds out what the text input is, enter your expression. The browser is maintaining what value this has in it from last time. And that is not a feature of this application at all. And then whenever we get down here at the bottom, we're changing the display. Maybe. So, but we need to make sure that this display is changing. So st dot, let's see. I'm just going to post a message. What does display look like at the very end? This is a way to do print statement debugging. So we see that it got the value or the text inside here, and it appended a 1 to the end. It does append properly, but it doesn't affect something that's higher up in this particular application. Oh boy. So we're going to need to learn about session state. And this is the last part of this particular application. So with session state, we can save a particular, a particular thing to the session, and let's see, by using a dictionary called st.sessionState display. What this does, all this session state, it's a dictionary. And what we're doing is saving a key and a value to that dictionary. And this will make sure that it stays from reload to reload. So now you don't have to worry about whether it reloads or not. But we've got to rewrite the application to take advantage of this new session state. So I'm going to leave in that. But let's change the display to and the only thing that I'm worried about. All right, so I was able to push that one, and it was able to pull this from session state. So it was able to do all the things I'm looking for. I've still got more buttons to create. Button 1 was the only one I was able to do. So if 2, and we'll have a couple of buttons where we can do a display. 1, 2, 3. Uh-oh. let's see. All right, so what we have is the display being set with a display item and going into this. So display hasn't changed, but it's overriding everything in here. So fun stuff. I'm running out of time. The bomb is going off.
No, you're good. You're good. Show him alarm clock.
All right. This is just doing a dictionary get on this display key. And if there's nothing, then get nothing. Let's see. But it didn't do this correctly. All right. Sometimes Copilot's great, but you still need to check it with a brain. All right. So now we've got the numbers growing. That's awesome. So this is basically print statement debugging in a Streamlit type environment. Now, let's get all the buttons working. This has saved me so much time. But make sure not to check your brain at the door, because it will mess up. And it's harder now to decide whenever Copilot has messed up. Okay, so and rerun. Let's see. It's remembering the session state. It's remembered the session state from the previous run. So we're still adding on numbers. I don't think that's a good number to calculate. So I'm going to refresh this whole page and destroy that dictionary. So let's see. 12 plus 3. And go down here to equals. Nuts. So, calculator. We haven't had our calculator, or our calculate operation is not taking advantage of our new session state dictionary. It's still working off of display. And our display, our variable was blank. We can get rid of this display variable. We're not going to use it anymore. So, me dot state display. And same goes for this. All right, let's see if this fixes it. 23 minus 6. Oh, yeah. Sure. Eight. Okay. That definitely works. But I need to work on a clear button. Let's see. Hey, does this clear button work? It does. So 8 times 9 equals 72. You have to press clear. All right, so now the fun part is making the app go backwards. Let's see. Let's see if we can try to get this this text input area to be able to show the same thing that we're getting down here in the success box. That means we're going to get rid of all of these display options. right, so this has a default value of value. I'm just going to refresh the page, save me a little bit. Display is not defined. Okay, somewhere in here is still, those are fine, an internal variable, but this can take out all these displays. All right, so now that this displays are gone, let's see if that would rerun. 3 plus 6. Okay, not quite. We see the 23 plus 6. It's evaluating it up, or let's see, at the bottom, but it's not putting it into the display because it hasn't rerun the application to reevaluate it down or up at the top. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a force on this evaluate display. T dot experimental rerun. What this will do is after every button, your mileage may vary whenever using this experimental rerun. Works for a great number of simple applications like this one. Okay, so I'm going to clear 12 divided by 4. And now we've got it. I think that is the entirety of this application. So I'll be taking any questions that you have. So I'll open the floor up for this. I'll see if or while the questions are going on, I'll see if there's any other part of the calculator demo that I left off by checking the code that's in GitHub.
So feel free to unmute yourself and ask questions. There was some comment somewhere. I'll start with some comment that I saw in the chat before. Someone was saying that the problems you had with the special characters, and you added the dot. Maybe instead of a dot, put spaces before and after.
Oh, okay.
We don't know.
Let's try that out. Sure.
I was doing some reading on this actually, and Streamlit supports Markdown, so this might be Markdown trying to interpret that as something else. So if that doesn't work, I have another couple of things to try.
Yeah, it worked on mine if I just added the escape character.
I'm all up for trying this thing. I've been trying to. I'll make the changes and put it up on.
You need to put two slashes because you have double quotes. See the PyCharm highlights it. It works, yeah. Okay. No, it does, yeah, but okay, it's
fine. Someone was asking what channel is this posted on YouTube. I'll pull out the channel for you. It's in if you go to the Austin Python meetup, you'll find there are two channels. One of them is mine. The other one is the official Austin Python. I just started doing it in Austin, but then I moved to DC, and therefore, so I'll put in the channel for you. But yeah, go ahead, Jeremy. Don't want to interrupt you.
Oh no, that I will say it's wonderful. That's even better. This is part of why I do this, because this is a learning experience for me. I get finished with an entire application. Somebody has, I'll say, things to contribute at the very end, and it's just increases my knowledge and decreases my frustration at the very end. So
I'm curious if you could describe some example, like real world use cases for this, like what you actually use, or some like example projects that you've seen using it.
sure, I did one today. Let's see use case scenario. Somebody wanted to add a form to a website, import Streamlit as st. So st.title Bob's form, and what they wanted was a place to put JSON into and execute something in AWS. So this is a simple form. Sure, st.text area. No, let's see. Put your JSON here, and we didn't need anything complicated. Let's say st.button submit. Now this, if let's say we needed a button is equal to st.button, and if button then photo3.client, let's say launch some lambda. Lambda invoke and just short. That kind of thing.
That's pretty cool.
And what it ended up looking like was, let me stop this one, and let's see, form. There we go. So it literally took me less time than the meeting that we were having talking about it to be able to build this form. I could have deployed it. Let's see, and be done with it. So I needed to figure out the API gateway stuff, but it is quick. Let's say people were talking about using Swagger interfaces, and I'll say some complicated, Django or some, overhead. Well, this was something that they needed quickly, and this is very simple. So, I mean, literally, this is the whole operation was less than 10 lines. So it took out the spaces, I think.
Jeremy, I have a question. The code you've seen is not a good example for beginners to actually look at. We have several options. We can continue the Q&A here, but I suggest something. Will you show perhaps, and this is only if people are interested, I know that there are many beginners here, will you show them how to write the code correctly instead of like button 1, button 2, and so on and so forth? Do it like in a for loop or something that accepts a function, just to show them how to do it properly, so they won't get any bad habits from looking at this video.
What? Are you saying that's not the epitome of coding?
No, but like here, the beginning, okay, you have to declare the buttons. But once they are declared, look at this code below. If you go below, you see, this is repetitive code. If you see something like this in an application, people like kind of first you can't read it because it's a bit. If there's a bug somewhere, if you need to change any line or anything, then it becomes a nightmare. Can you just, instead of doing all those things, can we just write a function that does this once and then just send them all the buttons and the numbers that they should be printing? Just to show them how to do it properly.
This is the future, because the code from neural networks, like it always looks like that. The ChatGPT and the copilots, like they all generate code that looks like that.
Yeah, and this is how my simulations generate code when they run. It's something that the machine understands. It's not compact code. For humans to work this, the problem is that here, if you want to change one thing here, but you need to change it now in everything. Like you change, like the second state is now called a different variable name or something else. So you need to change something else. You now have to go over everything. This is actually what's called the dry principle.
Right.
Yeah.
Do not repeat yourself in coding. The fact that Copilot writes it like this, it's because it's not human. But we do have the dry principle. It says do not repeat yourself. By the way,
can you ask it to generate an array of buttons? Like in Copilot, you know how you can put the comment and then just say like what you want, like see what it does.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to go down to the bottom of this and say, put a comment and say, give Copilot this task. I'm not saying this is going to work. I'm saying this, or we can change the description and find out and see how many times it takes us to change the description. Okay. Take the
Just complete on that and see what it does. No, you don't want to add to display, right?
add them to the
Almost.
Yeah, it's almost. It's okay. But instead of button, get another parameter. Button and text. It gets button and text, and just add the text.
like I said, be careful with Copilot. It will give you a convincing answer, but not necessarily the right answer.
Yeah,
So-
wait. But now you have to call this function for all of those things above.
Yes. It
Not
doesn't even need to.
You have like several things that are different. I think the clear button, stuff like that. But...
All right, so this would be changed to if button 1. Whoops, not def. Add to display.
Button 1 1. Button 1 1.
Oh, yeah, it doesn't recognize the function that's way down here.
Just saying, put an if button and add to display.
There's no variables for button in this.
No, put button.
There.
The button's missing. The button should have been there. Just basically copy the first thing.
Button parameter back.
Here, if I put the button parameter back, you see how it's grayed out? Because it's unused.
It's because you haven't called it.
In the function, do if button.
Oh.
No, you probably
Or
don't
if
want to
not,
do
button
it. You
return.
violate because add to display should just add to display. So you should do it outside of that function. Like
So
You
you're saying to get rid of this.
no. You want another function
That's the
to check for the buttons. Like so you can you create array of buttons? Like above, outside, because you just leave add to display. It's perfect. Like and
I
then,
I don't see why not. But let's say I wanted it to be, understandable as far as this goes. So
No, this is great for
Yes.
the demo. I just don't want. I want people who are beginners to get the idea that you don't write spaghetti code like this. Otherwise, it's called as the wet principle. Write everything
Yeah.
twice, or write everything
Yeah.
thrice. In this case,
Yeah.
it's like multiple
12
times.
times. Let's see. It was only because GitHub Copilot was making it easy. So yeah, it could be refactored.
Oh, boy.
So, oh boy. Yes, we can.
What are you doing?
Making an array out of these.
You can probably, yeah, okay.
Interesting. Oh, okay.
Oops. Sorry, I need to get this.
And then
As
the
well.
You
old
could make it
dictionary
dict
goes.
and then just put, so you keep like this.
Yeah, the dictionary will be by
Yeah.
the text you put in. It will be.
No.
No, it
No, you
won't
want to
work
start the
because of
dictionary
special
before you're
characters.
adding the buttons. Just create an empty dict. At the very top.
Yeah.
Okay,
Hopefully. Yes.
So live coding at its best. Let me tell you.
I must admit, I've never seen code written so fast in my life.
And then you lose all the cursors as you click somewhere. You have to redo this. All these precision mousing maneuvers just to get the comma. Anyway, there we go. Oops. That's not going to work. There. All right, now what do we do with this?
No, the dict should have the created buttons, not the so.
Oh, okay. So they can't. I don't know if
They're mutable or not. We don't
they're
know.
mutable or not. Yeah.
They're probably not mutable.
Yeah.
So you
Let's
cannot
go
do
ahead
the
and-
dict.
let's go for it. All right. In dictionaries, you cannot have things that can be changed. Things like lists. So you can't have immutable objects. So let's try this out. All right. It will. Oops, that's not what I'm looking for.
It's the function.
Yeah, he doesn't like it.
That's just a minute. No, I didn't like my
We haven't
syntax here.
finished it. We haven't finished the button. Button
I
is
haven't
not-
finished it, but I wanted to make sure that the buttons were non-mutable. So, and they're not. What?
Might look better if the
Yeah,
text was the
probably one of-
keys.
Wait.
Okay.
For the beginners, when you define the dictionary, just like Jeremy said, there are mutable and immutable objects. Mutable means you can mutate them, you can change things there. Immutable means once you define them that they cannot be changed. So you can only use mutable objects as
No,
the
you know what? I
dictionary
think the
keys.
first was better, like the original with the buttons. No, it's
No,
allowed, yeah, but
it's allowed
to
because
make the
the
calculator works, you
strings
want the
are-
buttons to actually be the keys because you can just run the for loop of the buttons and get the value what to add.
Yeah, I'm thinking
Yeah,
that's
but
the
they
same
are
thing.
not. But they are
Uh,
Well,
not.
you can run the for loop over the pairs.
They are mutable. You can't assign
But they're
a
not mutable,
object.
yeah, so that's not a problem.
It will
Yeah, it works.
It works.
Yeah, it works, yeah.
I just
works?
ran through it. Yeah.
Really? Huh.
Yep. No errors. So let's see. It had to evaluate this dictionary, so it would have told me if otherwise. So
Oh, okay.
And
Probably
just run
uses the
for loop
address
over
or
the-
something.
okay. So add to display button session state.
No, that's fine. You should run a for loop outside of this function. You need the button. Yeah.
All we need
Oh, yeah,
is
no.
not if we're sure that there is a button because it's being called, but my button's button.
If it's like that, you need the if. Oh, no.
You need to add it to the text. You know you need to text add the session state here.
Yeah.
So you don't need the text.
Well, this is the text.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
You can remove the second line then.
Yeah.
Useless.
and success. Okay, experimental rerun. All right.
Wait. Remove the button. Remove all the text with the buttons, and except from those
Yes.
pure ones.
I need the button C. All right, I'm looking on the right side for all of the numbers, and it looks like we should be able to get rid of everything except for button C. And I don't have button C in there. All right, so now I need to have this operation for add display button.
You should do it
Yeah.
after the function, right?
For
Because
button and
you-
my buttons.
no, that's the one.
Yeah, I need to do it afterwards. Yeah.
So what he's doing now, Jeremy, is something that you couldn't do in Python in the older versions. And from 3.6, you can do it. In the older Python versions, the order in the dictionary wasn't guaranteed.
Oh, but we don't care about the order because you just want to. It's only one button that's been clicked, right, at the time.
In this situation, you're correct, actually. Yeah. So it will work in previous versions. You are correct. But usually it's a bad idea because, like, going over all of those. But in this situation, doesn't matter because you go over all of them. You're correct.
That's going to cause a problem. All right, so Markdown is going to be the death of me.
No. Once you define the button, you have to just, you don't need the markdown anymore.
Yeah, I don't need the Markdown in here. Right? No, I do need it here.
Use the other slash.
Yeah, use that slash. Yeah, yeah.
Use the
Is the
forward.
other-
Backward slash.
And probably clear.
One. No. Clear. 2 times 6. calculate. There we go.
Okay, now show back your problem, the problem, and show everyone how it's much more compact and you don't repeat yourself all the time, only when you need to.
All right, so this, making a dictionary of this is the long part of this. So it makes sure that your key value pairs are saved in a data structure, something that is persistent, instead of having to guess, let's see, hey, is this right? Is this right? Is this right? So we're going to create one question that says, we know this is happening. Now, we wanted to run these same operations. We wanted to add the text to the display, and we wanted to display that success operation down at the very bottom, and then rerun the user interface so that it showed up inside the text area. And let's see, setting aside the clear button because that did something different. We didn't want it to add this, or this was a different operation. So we took we grouped all the sameness together in this add to display, and we took the separate issue out and said, okay, this is an exception. So this is where we run all of the buttons and say, hey, if this button happened, this increases the runtime just a little bit because we had to go through all of this dictionary. We had to say, oh, is it button 1? Is it button 4? Is it button 7? Is it button C? Anyway, and take a look at that one. Is this button 2, 5, 8, 0? Is it 3, 6, 9? So each time it's going through that entire dictionary, but the dictionary is small, who cares? So
No, time to the execution because you did it anyway before. You always ask those questions. The if statement is outside. You always did the same code.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
It just encapsulated everything and made it much, much easier to look at the code and understand. If now there is a change in something, you know where to change. You have to change it only once, and then, like, if something changes in the display, you need to do something funny, or you change it only in the function. Or if you change a button name or want to add another button, then it's easier.
So never mind, the runtime is the same. It's more concise. It's easier to troubleshoot because it's got a data structure and a small for loop that controls it. So let's see, there's a lot more to Streamlit. The st.write function can handle so much more than just text. It can handle data frames. So the place to go is streamlit.io. And take a look at their docs. So in their API reference. They have various types of ways to format text. You can do pre-formatted text. You can do LaTeX. Let's see, chart elements. There's so many more things that they can put in here. So Vega, Plotly, Bokeh, Altair, Matplotlib. It's just incredible what they've done with this in such a short time. So input widgets. Okay. One thing I forgot to say about these buttons is that whenever you click them, they're good. Let's say the application is good all the way till the end of the run. So it evaluates the application. That too is, the button is clicked all the way till the end of the application, and then it's not. So this isn't a toggle switch. So there's other types of buttons associated, and you'll need to find a toggle button, and that will be as a component outside of this. So we'll take a look at the extensions. Users can also make these components for this. So you can extend it however you would like. There's camera input. Hey, you can make FaceTime. Let's take a look at. Let's take a look at the component gallery. Some people have done 3D molecules and graph, making graph representations based on React and D3.
Yes.
There's a lot here, but remember this is a simple UI app. It gets hard to remember it's a simple UI app whenever they publish really complex components like this. But st.write can also write data frames. So the data frames are interactive. I'm not sure exactly how big of the data frames you can get to. Let's see. I'm trying to find a data frame in here. But this st.write can be able to take a data frame and display it, but they're not
You
displaying
can
this.
just paste that in your calculator code. You can just paste it into your code right here to see how the data frame sample.
Oh yeah, let's see. I've got it copied, right? Let's go with the form. What about the form? Here's the really? Okay. It's got some interactivity, so it's got sorts. You can also display markdown tables, which are a little bit more, you can change the content of those data frames, but it's a little less interactive. So this st.write is pretty powerful. So it can change the data type depending on what's inside it.
So what drives it? Is it just a single frame, a single cell Jupyter notebook, essentially? Or is it
Let's see, it's not able to take in, let's say, live input
No, you up it
that
like
I'm aware of. So
you
I don't
up
know
it
that
the
it's
single cell
a Jupyter notebook in the
right? I
back.
mean, it's it's a notebook with one cell. That's what your Python code is. Yeah. Okay.
It seems to be that way. So, or structured that way. So
It'd be nice if it could run in a Jupyter
But I
notebook.
think it is a Jupyter. No, it's just one cell. So like if you want to share it with somebody, like and make a quick up.
So there is a way to run this within just Python. Let's see, Streamlit run form. It's like Python -m Streamlit run form. Okay. So that still works.
Cute. At this point, anyone has any big questions or like? Because we can continue exploring this. I'm not sure it's interesting continuing the recording this. So, anyone has any more questions that you want to put in the recording?
I have a question for Jeremy.
Sure.
You said something at the very beginning that this is, I believe, not professional grade package to use somehow. I have previously, a long time ago, used even Jupyter for a professional inside the company something. So is this something that one could use to provide somebody with, I don't know, a service of some kind? Something useful? Yeah.
Yes. Let's see. For simple apps, I believe it's a godsend. Let's see. For complex apps, it depends on how much complexity. Let's see. You have to think about how much it interacts with the session state, and how you want the layout, or if you're trying to fix the layout exactly, pixel perfect, this is not the app. So you'll need to go with traditional HTML, CSS, JavaScript methods in something like a Django or Flask. So.
Any more questions?
It'd be interesting if there were like Lego pieces for security to say like, okay, authenticate against our, Google account. Anybody with our Google account can log in and nobody else can. Just some basic stuff so that you could use their
probably bolt
built-in
something
hosting.
on, because of it's the Jupyter thing. It's you can probably find. But I had a question. Do you feel comfortable enough to hang it on the public internet, or is it more like would be like an internal tool?
I would feel fine with putting it on the external internet. Let's see, what I would be afraid of is, bot. Let's see,
but not
distributed
even,
denial of
so
service
you feel
attacks.
safe, like whatever they use for API, and like people will not run like arbitrary code, or is it?
Let's see, not that I'm aware of. So I don't know what type of injection attacks might be lurking underneath this. So with this large of a community, I would say a lot of security flaws have already been solved.
Okay.
So.
They'll always find some security issues with anything if they look at it well enough. The question is like whether this is this the target or not. Those are questions you'll probably have to talk to the company who develops this.
Yep.
Right.
Well, this is just a demo. With the kind of like it's a volunteer demo. It's not no one guarantees you anything about it. It's just Jeremy testing out the system.
This GPL code,
not absolute authority.
Not fit for a particular purpose.
Yeah.
Use it at your own risk.
Yeah, you said something about printers.
Yeah, just to promote your printer repair business.
Okay, unless anyone has have to ask you one more question, I suggest we'll thank Jeremy for the nice demo and close the recording. Is everyone okay with it?
Yep.
Okay,
Thanks a lot.
That's a wrap.
Yeah, make some noise, put some reactions there. So Jeremy will be. Thank you.
Thank you.
Don't go away. We're not finished. I just closed the recording.